welcome back to Swans Cast, everyone. So we've got a guest with us on today. So welcome, Oli, to
Hi guys.
debut on the channel. Big shout out and assist by Jordan. Obviously been on here a couple of times, so thanks, Jordan. And we're happy to have Oli on here to discuss his thoughts and feelings about the Swans ahead of match against QPR. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
No, it's all right. Anytime. We like to try and get different opinions and views from across the fan base on. So quite happy to have a chat with you today. So also joined by Lee and Alid. So welcome back, guys.
Hello.
Welcome. So before we start on actually talking about Swansea versus QPR, just going to speak to Oli a little bit about some of his thoughts about the season so far, and what he thinks maybe has gone on and how he will play out towards the end. So what do you reckon then, Oli, about the season so far? How do you feel about our season?
It's been good and it's been bad. We've played very well sometimes, not often, but we have played well in part.
Yeah.
A lot of grinding out wins, but we're in a very good position where I think we're still third and only 6 points off Watford. And I know they play Norwich tomorrow. So we still could be in the automatic conversation. See, with the Super League, everything could change, but taking it as it is
Might not
currently,
matter.
Yeah, no, but taking it as it is currently, we're in a good position. Hopefully a good playoff run then, and we can make our way back to the Premier League.
Yeah. Obviously, I think everyone would love to finish second, but the playoffs can be exciting if it goes well for you. So, and potentially, if we do well, it might be the only game this season that we are allowed to go and actually watch in person if we get to the final. So, if we get there, that's something to look forward to, I guess. Although I think if you lose it, you'd probably rather be locked in your house. So,
Yeah, I think. Yeah. Give me the automatics though, and I'll snap your hand off.
Yeah,
As much as I
definitely.
want to go away.
Can't refuse the automatics. Okay, so you said good and bad this season, but in terms of the players, who are your standout performers, or who do you think has had maybe a shout for Player of the Year at this point of the season?
I mean, there's three that immediately spring to mind. Grimes. Well, I say three. I mean four. Grimes, Guehi, Roberts, and Ayew.
Yeah.
I mean, Roberts has been fantastic from wing back. He's scored goals. He's given us a threat. Grimes does a lot of the dirty work in midfield. Good creative force. We'd be lucky to keep hold of both of them. Where he obviously on loan from Chelsea, done very well for us. Just gone from strength to strength throughout the season. And we'll be very lucky to get him back if we do. Even though, well, I'm not sure we will. I think that would have to be promotion for that to happen. And Ayew, I mean, he's a leader out on the pitch, and he just is so much defensive work, not just what he does going forward. I was looking at his heat map the other day, and there's two little spots of red on the edge of each 6-yard box for all those headers he gets away at corners. He's
definitely like Wilfred Boney used to do that quite a lot back in the day, and he kind of does the same job. Considering he's not half as tall, it's good that he's good in the air, considering his height as well. But yeah, that's you mentioned Grimes as well, which I agree with you on that one. I think he gets a lot of unfair criticism. But what I thought interesting, you mentioned lucky to keep him, and that just got my memory jogging a little bit. The fact that he was linked with Watford at the start of the season, and they're looking like they're going to go, if we don't get second, it's going to be potentially them. Would they come back in for him? That's a question maybe worth asking in the summer.
I mean, the way he's played, you wouldn't be surprised. He's looked very strong all season. Looks like a Premier League player in waiting.
Yeah, he does. I hope it doesn't happen. Speaking of which, I was going to mention this later on, but perfect time to do so. He made 150 appearances for Swansea in the last game against Wycombe, which I'm surprised is so many, because Wayne Routledge also made 300 in the same game, and it feels like he's been in the team for so much longer than Grimes, who's on half the tally. So that's a good haul, and shows how vital he's been, I guess, since we come back down to the Championship. He's basically been ever present, I think. I can't even think of a game that he didn't start. Not start, but play in at all. Probably in the last 2 years, to be honest. Maybe a couple at the start of Potter's time, because he was playing him as left back, wasn't he? He wasn't starting in midfield right at the beginning, but that soon changed. Okay, the last question I want to ask then. We're obviously near the end of the season. We've already just touched on the fact that we're in the playoffs, and automatics is not out of the question, even if it is a tough ask at this point. So do you think we will go up or can go up? What are your thoughts?
Well, my head's telling me one thing and my heart's tell me another. I'd like to think we can, and I think we certainly have a squad of players who could win the playoffs. Clearly a very close-knit group. I mean, the mentality in the squad is clearly very strong. But at the same time, the playoffs are unforgiving. There's going to be some very good teams in there. I mean, I don't think I particularly want to face any of Barnsley, Brentford or Bournemouth, who I think are going to be the three who eventually end up finishing there.
Yeah.
And we just have to play better than them. And sometimes, and on our day we can, and off our day we might not. But I'd like to hope so. I don't see it happening. I think it will be the Championship next season, but we can dream, can't we?
Well, if we're in the playoffs, it's a 25% chance of winning, isn't it? So it might happen. We had the experience last year, so same as Brentford would have, but it's up to us then to push on. It is a tough group, though, to be up against. If it is as it is and we get Barnsley, I'd probably choose them for the two-leg semi-final out of the rest. And then anything can happen if you win that in the final. So we'll have to just wait and see and hope that our past Wembley fortunes return if we do get there.
I'm got a bad record there, have we?
Not of recent history. There has been some heartbreak in the past, though, I believe, which I don't know, some of the older listeners might remember. Myself, I don't so much, wasn't necessarily following. But Lee, you might have a couple. Was it like Johnson's Paint Trophy or something, one of them?
Yeah, they were all the Millennium then when they were rebuilding Wembley, isn't it? I remember the playoff final against Barnsley, though, saying about them. In League One, that playoff final when they beat us on penalties.
Time to get revenge then.
That was horrific, but yeah, I think we'd do one. We'd do one in the playoffs over Barnsley, so that might be on the card.
Time to get revenge, and so there we are. Then we get revenge over Barnsley, and we get revenge over Brentford for beating us last year. Sorted.
Narratives are looking fantastic, aren't they, for this to happen?
That's as long as someone gets rid of Bournemouth for us, I think, because I don't want to play them.
I still think that it's written for a Swans Brentford playoff final. I still think it's going to happen.
Yeah,
I'd love to see it.
Mate, if we go to that as well and we go to that game and lose it, I think I'd rather go out of my way to find Tom Frank than drive down the M4 crying. Just give him a haircut or something.
Nothing wrong with long hair.
No, I know, but I didn't want to be an advocate for violence on the podcast. So that's what I'm saying. Give him a haircut instead. Okay, so let's move on then. Thanks for those thoughts, Ollie. Hopefully, at the end of the season we'll all be celebrating together. Thanks for those thoughts. We'll move on now to Swansea versus QPR. So we are playing at home, 7 p.m. kickoff. I believe it's Tuesday, isn't it? Tomorrow they'll be playing. I checked the time, but I didn't actually check the day.
Is it 7?
It's 7 p.m. kickoff, yeah. Which it's a bit annoying because every evening kickoff these days is just like
random.
Flip a coin and see what time you get given, isn't it? It's always different.
8:15 against Stoke was the most random, I think. That was,
I had no idea why they did that.
It's literally all over the place. It's a bit annoying.
And we've had like half fives as well, haven't we? I don't know.
Yeah, that's what sprung to mind for me.
7:30, 7:45, 8 o'clock. I'm sure we've had them all.
There's no rhyme or reason to it anymore.
So if we're looking back at the history, so just this season, the last game was away, obviously. Swansea won that game 2-0. It was on Boxing Day, so I don't know if anyone does remember that game. But I've had a look at the stats, and it's not really the most pretty reading for us. Anyone remember that game?
I remember.
Can you remember Christmas?
I should say Boxing Day, so it's one of only 2 games that I've actually missed this season. But I remember Jamal Lowe scored a really nice goal when I was watching back the highlights.
Yeah, so it was a goal from Jamal Lowe and another goal from Andre Ayew. I believe, if I can remember watching back, we were basically under the cosh for the entire first half. I don't know how QPR didn't score. And then Andre Ayew just goes up the other end, like on the 44th minute, and scores just before half-time. And I think at the time we were saying, like, oh, we're just clinical when we get our chance, we take it and all this, that, the other, saying how good our defence was. And which, it was. QPR missed. They made 3 big chances and missed 3 big chances in that game. I think they all came pretty much in the first half. Looking at the actual stats then, it was 65% possession to QPR. They had 12 shots to 6, only 1 on target though, and we had 4. So that was the difference. Looking back at this now, you can kind of like see we had a bit of a trend where this was happening for a long period. At this time, when this happened, we didn't know obviously what was going to come out of it at the end, but hopefully things have changed now. Looking at the lineups as well, then, so some notable players. Tom Carroll started for QPR, which he didn't score, which was nice considering.
He will tomorrow.
Well, is he even still playing for them? He didn't start the last game.
I
know.
Looking at our team, pretty standard. We playing obviously the system we played for most of the season, but Jan Dander did get a start in midfield. I don't think he did too much, to be honest, and was withdrawn. But again, nothing really otherwise that stands out from that. Back then, though, we did have like Gyökeres and Casey Palmer, so they were on the bench. So yeah, like I said, goals from Ayew and Lowe. A bit of a smash and grab, but looking at the current form, before we'll bring the other boys in for a bit of a discussion then. Swansea, 2 losses, 2 wins and a draw. We all know the results, how we found that of late. QPR, sort of like 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss. And they've had 3 wins and 2 losses in their last 5. And high-scoring games, actually, for both teams in the last 5.
They do score a lot of goals. I'd be very surprised if it's 0-0.
Yeah, they also seem to concede quite a few, so might be chances.
The last 0-0 was on the 24th of February, so going back some months for them to without scoring or conceding.
So lads, how are you feeling about QPR?
Go on, Alex.
Well, whilst you've been talking, I have been watching a little bit of the highlights from last game. They like to whip ball into sort of like the opposite side of the field.
Like a diagonal.
Yeah, into the box. Sort of what happened with Cullen, but they just didn't take their chances. And the Ayew goal was basically a repeat of what happened with Cullen, but it hit the post and then Ayew's tapped it in. I don't know. I'm feeling excited. I think we can definitely come away with it again.
You can argue there was not an exciting end to the last game, coming back from 2-0 down. Regardless of being disappointed that we didn't win the game, you get a bit of a buzz off coming back from that.
Yeah, 100%. I really hope the players have, and I hope they just come into this guns blazing. But obviously, we do have that difficulty with Ayew not being there.
Well, I haven't heard anything. I don't think he'll play this game, but it's still not out about his injury and what's going on there. So I'd imagine...
I'm thinking Routledge will probably start, but obviously he'll then probably be off at about 60 minutes.
Well, I don't know, because he didn't start the last game because apparently he wasn't fit enough, Cooper said after the game.
Cullen, then?
So I'm not sure if he will start.
But I imagine Cullen probably isn't fit enough to start yet.
We'll see. Maybe it's Whittaker, or maybe he'll go back to 5 at the back or something, and although that doesn't solve the problem, does it? Because obviously he's still only Low. Well, we'll see what he does. We'll talk about what we think he'll do as well in a bit.
No, in terms of the game, I feel like we can definitely get 3 points from it. I think in terms of promotion push, we have to get 3 points out of this game. We discussed it a little bit at the end of the post match, but I think we can definitely bag some points.
Lee, what do you think? Been quiet so far.
Yeah, I'm just absorbing it all in, taking it all in a few boys. But I think I don't know at the moment because I don't know what Swans are going to turn up because we were awful in like the first after the first 20 minutes on Saturday we were awful until we were 2-0 down, and then the last 2 games before that we were brilliant. So I don't know what Swans team's going to turn up tomorrow. I can't see us keeping a clean sheet because you said QPR scored plenty of goals. Charlie Austin, goal scoring machine. He's always got a goal in him.
I don't know if he's injured though. He didn't start the last game and he wasn't on the bench.
That's good news, isn't it?
Might be suspended. I don't know where I've got that from. It's in the back of my mind.
What's that? Sorry.
That he might be suspended. I know the goalkeeper is definitely suspended.
Yeah, the goalkeeper got sent off against Middlesbrough, so they'll have their second choice.
Yang is excellent keeper as well, so it'd be good that they're without him.
Yeah.
You mentioned Leeds and Arsenal and things. Admittedly to be their number 2, but still excellent. Very good for this league. One of the best, sure.
Well, it's good if Charlie Austin is out, but I don't know. I think, as I said in the last video, I think we're at a point where we have to win all 4 games, probably to get second. So I just love to see us go for it. You say, like, you know, we need to just, you know, go gung ho and try and get some goals on the ball. But he hasn't done it all season. I'd love to see us just get well. We only did it in the last sort of half an hour on Saturday, and I want to just see more of that, where they actually just let the chains loose a bit and just go for it. But I can't see it happening. So I think, yeah, I know, not too confident, I think.
So Charlie Austin,
he got a 3-game ban.
Yeah, he got suspended after
games.
Nottingham Forest game. So I'm not trying to work out how long ago that is.
It's been 3 games.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah.
So he's probably going to be back then. So whether he comes straight back into the lineup or comes off the bench, I'm not sure. But it looks like he's going to be available. So it's probably not amazing news, but you know, he's getting on a bit. Maybe our defence can keep him quiet. That's got to be the plan.
If we can nullify him, I mean, they have got Dykes and Bon who could well turn up, you know. But
yeah,
I mean, Austin's the big threat. He's been a Premier League player for years.
So I highlighted Albert Adoma on the wing.
Cardiff.
Am I right in saying he was at Cardiff last year?
I'm not sure last year, but he's definitely been.
He's been everywhere.
Yeah.
Didn't they loan him at the end of the season, and then something happened after lockdown, and Forest recalled him because the transfer window had started, and just recalled him so Cardiff couldn't use him because Cardiff got into the playoffs. Remember, and Forest were on a really bad run, so they were like, "Oh, we'll take him back so that you can't use him and finish ahead of us." But then they ended up finishing ahead. I believe that's what happened because they were a bit bitter about it, which probably would be, to be fair. It's a bit of a shady move. But
makes no sense loaning a player to a promotion rival anyway.
I think at the time, though, when they loaned him in January, Lena Warnock had just got sacked, and they weren't doing so well. So that's probably why. Yeah. Any other players, Lee Allen, that you've recognised from QPR? Well, obviously, we mentioned Tom Carroll, but I think he's getting in the team.
I mean, he's not even on the bench for last game.
Probably injured, knowing him.
Yeah, probably. But don't know. Don't think so. I think you guys have sort of nailed it on the head.
Nah, yeah. So Isaac's chair. He can be decent, I think, sometimes. But I mean, we nicked our 2 best players, didn't we? Manning and Bidwell.
I was going to say we should have a look at whoever's playing left back for them tomorrow, because we have a bit of a habit of picking their backs.
Lee Wallace, who's their captain, is their left wing back.
He'll be here next season now.
Yeah,
guarantee that.
Well, we'll see. Anyway, okay, moving forward then. So, looking at our team, we'll start with Lee this time. What do you think about the team then? So, I think we can all safely say Ayu's going to be not available. So where do we go? What route do we take?
Well, if it was me, I can tell you what he's going to do. But if it was me, I would. I just want to see him release the shackles a bit. I want to see a holding 2 instead of a flat 3, and have a cam. Just go for it. Home against QPR. We've got nothing to lose now. Playoffs are basically, nailed on.
Do we need a point or something?
Just go for it. Say again.
To nail them on, what do we need? A point?
Oh yeah, I probably want more win.
It probably depends if Reading drop points. Is it if we they just need to drop another point? I think.
Yeah, well, I think just let it go a bit, and I think especially with Ayu out, and if Routledge is not fit and Cullen's not fit, you can. I know Danda played well last game. Maybe put him in there because I don't think Horahan's had a great couple of weeks, even though we have been playing well. We've picked up in his stats, haven't we, in the last couple of videos. So I bring Danda in and play him behind the front 3. Maybe Whittaker will probably start with maybe Roberts on the wing again and Lowe on the other side. So that's probably what I would do. I don't know. I wouldn't really change the back 4. Norton, Bennett.
Don't you think maybe they'll be tired, Norton and Bennett, though? They played the last 3, haven't they?
Yeah, maybe, but well, if they're fit, they play, don't they? Because that's our best back four, I think, with Bennett, Guehi, and Norton in there.
Yeah.
If they fit, they probably play. Maybe he'll change it if they're not fit, if they are tired. But the left back is an interesting one, though. I don't know who he picks.
Yeah, I think Manning's not had his best couple of games, is he? So maybe Bidwell comes back in.
I had to look at Bidwell and Manning's stats before I came on and compared them. And Bidwell is a lot better than Manning going forward, more crosses, more key passes, and that. But defensively, Manning's wiping the floor with him.
That's crazy because we said from what just visually from we've seen, we've been saying it the other way around, haven't we? But it's a bit mad to the stats are showing that. I thought Manning was more attacking.
Bidwell's on 1.2 tackles and interceptions a game, and Manning's on 3.2.
That's pretty good, to be fair.
Big difference.
I mean, Bidwell's stats are over a much larger sample, though, so I guess that could be going against it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's an interesting one. Maybe Manning will keep his place. We'll see. But I know Cooper does like Bidwell, so I'm surprised it's been 3 games in a row that he's not started him, to be honest.
In a 4, especially with those stats, maybe he's looking for the more defensively solid option.
Yeah, if that's what the stats are showing, then possibly that is the reason. Because I think Lee, you brought it up in one of the recent videos that Bidwell last season in the back 4 wasn't the best option.
Yeah.
So yeah, it could be. I also want to just correct myself. We need one more win to secure playoffs, regardless of Reading's result. If we win, we'll secure playoffs. There'll only be 9 points available then, so they won't be able to overtake us. So I think they're pretty much nailed on in that case, because that means also Reading have to win all their games. Plus we're playing them. So again, that even a draw against Reading on the weekend secures us. Anything you'd like to then change with the team, Alid?
I mean, I think the biggest issue is obviously that Ayu's out, and it's who comes in for Ayu. I mean, Whittaker.
Who?
Not Whittaker. Cullen has. I messed up saying Whittaker, but Cullen said that he thinks he's fit enough. To
As a
play.
player, you're always going to say that, though, and they'll have the medical
exactly.
team assessing that probably.
I'd like to see Routledge in from the start, but as we mentioned 5 minutes ago, it's a fitness issue because he's 35 and he just hasn't got the engine.
I mean, maybe he will, and he'll just preempt the sub red. They'll agree, 55, 60 minutes, and you come off, Cullen come on. I don't know. That could happen.
Because I feel like Routledge, he doesn't hold the ball up as well as Ayu, but I feel like he has got the ability to do that. I feel like we missed that a little bit last game, but Routledge didn't sort of take that role up.
I think he makes more clever runs and is more tricky with his feet, maybe. But what about Roberts on the wing? And Lee, I don't know if you mentioned, but would you keep him on the wing?
Yeah, I keep him in there. I think he looked all right, actually. I think he's looked all right on the wing in the last 2 games when he's come on. He put that ball in for Fulton, didn't he? And,
but do you think it worked when Routledge was up top, Roberts on the wing and Lowe on the left? Obviously, it worked when Ayu was there.
Yeah, well, I still need the answer if Whittaker's a winger or a striker, because I'm still not sure what his best position is. Because otherwise, I'd probably play Whittaker. Well, I don't know, saying that, he did get bullied a bit in the Cardiff game. He came on a bit better in the second half against Cardiff, but maybe he can't hold the ball up as well in the middle. Maybe that's why he plays him on the wing. But I'd like to see Roberts get another run out on the wing, because I thought what I've seen of him on the wing so far, he's done all right. His finishing wasn't great on Saturday, but he's getting the right positions. He's used to playing right back, so you're asking your right back to be clinical is a big ask. But I think just keep him in there, and that'll only come with practice.
Well, and Gareth Bale did it from left back, didn't he? So no excuses.
Yeah, exactly.
He's Welsh as well.
You mentioned potentially going for it though, and I'd imagine if we are thinking of going for it, we probably want Roberts at right back rather than on the wing. He's a more attacking option.
Yeah, you are right, but you've got to get the balance, haven't you? And I don't think Roberts would have the impact up the pitch from right back because he'd be too conservative.
Yeah.
And he's not as solid then when being so conservative.
For me, what annoyed me on the weekend was with Roberts was the finishing, but that's just because he's missed 2 good chances.
One
I
of them
think-
was on his left foot as well, and he's never
Yeah.
curling that enough on his left.
So
He
looking
put the
back,
ball
at
in.
it, I think I like him there, but I feel like he's got a lot to go. But I don't know. I'm on the fence about it. It's one of those things where
Maybe he just needs another game then.
he needs more time there because obviously it's new to him. Is it the right decision over somebody who's played there more often,
no.
like Whittaker?
I mean,
don't know.
he technically hasn't, has he? Roberts has probably played just as many times on the right as Whittaker because he's done it a few times under Potter and a few times last season under Cooper. But Whittaker had like 6 games before he came to the Swans, so he's played like 4 since he's been here. Is he? So.
In fairness to Roberts as well, though, he did put the ball in for Cullen, didn't he, for the goal when he went back to right back.
Yeah,
and he
exactly.
put the ball in the game before on his left foot as well, because I just criticised his left foot for Volton's header.
I think they dropped him back to right back to bring another attack on, but he was still up, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He was still well up. We were pushing on. I just think in a back four, like we said before, I think in a back four it's got to be Norton a right back.
Yeah, I think Norton had a bit of a quiet game, didn't he, against Wickham, so he probably thought it was worth the risk at that point, 2-0 down, to put Roberts there, bring another attacker on, and then Roberts can run forward. But then you're not asking for the stability necessarily when you need to get 2 goals back, but you don't want to go behind in the first place. So I think that's why Norton probably starts.
Yeah.
And again, we don't have an abundance of options on the wings. So if you're starting Roberts at right back now, you have to play Whittaker, Routledge low. And assuming Cullen's not fit enough to start, that is, he's the only one that can come on then as a sub really in an attacking manner. Or Dander, but then again, he could technically go on the wing, but I can't see him doing that. It's difficult now, isn't it? One injury and you don't really have anyone because Ariola's gone. And Morris is gone. All of a sudden there's no one left.
We have been quite unfortunate with injuries in forward areas this season.
Yeah, and we sent Garrick away, didn't we?
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah. That looks
forgot about Garrick.
furious by the week.
I mean, I don't know how much he would have still played, but one injury away from him probably playing a lot, potentially.
And no matter what, he probably played more than Freeman, who we brought in as...
Yeah. Well, right back Freeman wasn't he? But as well, I guess it's lucky that Cullen has come back a little bit early because then we probably would be on the breadline, especially if IU is going to be a little bit longer term than what we would like.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. Okay, for me then, I think reiterate what Lee said. I would like to see us go with a cam. We did play the last game with the Andander, as I mentioned earlier. I think if it's going to be a cam, I haven't seen enough of Horahan.
I don't think he's a 10.
He's not like, he hasn't been awful, but I think Yandander's got a bit more flair. He's like we said, he's a luxury player, but I think he offers, if he gets that right, that's what we need at the moment, is for that creation.
I'm still not sold on Horahan in any position, to be honest. I don't know if I ever will be.
Oh.
I can't make up my mind on the goals, but you're losing a lot from someone like Smith coming in and helping them. Dander, especially, you are going to go with a more traditional attacking midfielder. He's the obvious choice rather than someone like her.
Yeah, I just, like you're saying, you don't think he's a 10, but I can't play Horahan in a flat 3 if I'm choosing.
No,
because
I can't work out what he is.
I don't know if you've seen when we've discussed it lately, but his stats against the other midfielders are just not on par. What was you going to say, Lee?
I think the problem with Horahan, I think he plays in Grimes' position, and he's not going to shift in from there. I think they're too similar. We said it from the start. I think him and Grimes are way too similar. And he's a bit more exposed when he's asked to be like sort of out wide of the 3. I think that's probably his best position, is being just in front of the back 4, spraying balls around and taking some long shots and taking free kicks. That's what I think his position is. But he's trying to shoehorn them both into the midfield.
I think you've got to, after you've gone out to get him, haven't you? That's the problem.
I think the difference between what he had at Villa and what he had here, and someone, Tom off Twitter, said this, is that when he was at Villa, he had Jack Grealish and John McGinn next to him in mid. Were both Premier League quality rather than Grimes and Smith or whatever. Who nothing against them, but beginning
Yeah.
are brilliant.
Well, they're not Grealish, are they? Let's be honest.
No, exactly. He can get away with potentially coasting a little bit more.
Well, you've got someone else to feed the balls to that's going to make something happen as well. Whereas maybe we're looking to him to make something happen.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess that could be a big
Yeah, well,
difference.
that's it, isn't it? You're asking him and Grimes to feed players, but there's no midfielder that's bombing on because Fulton does it sort of sparingly. So you've got three midfielders there that don't traditionally get forward.
Fulton has been getting more forward recently, but like a lot, to be fair. But in terms of subs, obviously we were just on this. Would you prefer Dander to come on to make that attacking flair after 60 minutes and try and get us more forward, and it start with Horahan, or would you prefer it the other way around?
I think I prefer Dander to start. I think it's been too many times we've seen Dander come on and he can't impact the game. Like, he just can't get a foothold in the game. What I mean is, if we're choosing the two and we're saying we want a Cam, then I think you've got to start Dander. I'm not saying that you should start every game. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying for what we're asking for from this game, which is go for it a little bit, try and get more chances created, start with a Cam. I think you need to start Dander and say, like, go and, like, right, you've got a free roll, go and make something happen. And if he can't do it, then you know he's not good enough, then he goes in the summer.
Yeah, well, I said it at the start. I said I'd like to see us play with a Cam and start Dander. If he is going to play one, then I'd like to see Dander have a chance. But too many times for me that he started and looks lively in the first 10, 15 minutes, and then he literally goes missing and gets hooked on 60 minutes.
Just tell him it is last chance saloon, mate. Like,
no,
you've got a chance
I agree
to
with
go
you.
and show us why you should be part of that team.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. That's what I would like to see. I'd like to see him play him in a role that he's comfortable with, and give him that last chance, because I think he has had quite a few chances under Cooper, I think, and compared to previous managers.
But I think the issue is, like we've mentioned before, and again, this is probably what's going to happen, and we all know it going into tomorrow, is we might well start Dander, and he'll play him in the 3, and yeah, he's getting a chance under Cooper, but it's also not really a chance to show what he can do, because that's not what he can do.
Yeah, I know, but you can't have especially in this league, you can't have someone hanging on. You can't like say, we're going to change the whole system just for you to play.
No, that's true. But I think we're at the point where we're not creating enough chances with our system as well. So he needs to, for me, and we've said it a long time, there's that gap, and you just said, like, no one driving on. I'm not criticising, because obviously it's worked to an extent, but if we're going to go and make a statement, I'm not just changing it to get Dander in. The reason I'm changing it is to score more goals, and Dander just fits there. That's why I'm doing now. If it's earlier in the season, then maybe you're changing it to fit Dander in, but I think now it's like we've got outside chance of getting second, and to do that we need to score more goals.
I'd love to see Oli Cooper get a run at some point, but I know that's a bit of a pipe dream.
Yeah, I would love that as well, but I just think at this point he's just destined to have 2 minutes of championship game time this season, which was that match the other day. It was the Millwall one. Did he even kick the ball?
I don't even think he got touched. It felt like a bit of a slap in the face there.
I know, that's a bit it's harsh. Does he play for the under-23s? Or is he just sitting on the bench?
No, he's with the free. I think I saw the other day, and this was a few weeks ago, he'd been on the bench over 20 times before he'd actually made it.
Yeah, no, I saw that as well.
And you were just thinking, at what point does he finally get a go? Because he clearly rates him to be chucking him.
Well, he'd done well against Forest, same as Liam McCullen. I know he didn't start, but he took his goal well. Bear in mind, we were down a man at that point as well, I think, because we had an injury.
Interesting on that. Yeah, I agree with you with Oli Cooper. We said loads of times, like, even against Sheffield Wednesday, we were 2-0 up and coasting with about 5 minutes left. Bring him on. I don't see why he couldn't give him some game time, but especially earlier in the Millwall game when we went 3-0 up, bring him on and give him at least 5-10 minutes, whatever. It'll be interesting now. He's saying about Cullen. Be interesting to see if he gets fully fit by playoff time. If he plays him down the middle, or if he starts with Routledge down the middle and brings Cullen on, because Cullen's looked sharp every time he's played now. After the Forest game, he started and he looked well. He come off the bench after an injury, scored a good finish, and he offers something different that we haven't got. Just having, we said about the run that he made. nobody's made that run all season. That one for the goal against Wickham, where he's running behind the defence, because like Ayew doesn't make that run because it's not natural to him and Lowe and the other wingers. So that's another sort of different thing that we could bring in.
Also, the best thing that could have happened for him was to come back from injury and score a goal. After he scored 2 and got injured, we couldn't have asked for any better there. Because that hopefully means he's now just going to kick on from where it was concerned that he'd come back, have a bit of a slow a game when he comes back, or he struggles a little bit, and then it knocks him back a little bit. But I'm glad that he's sort of hit the ground running again.
It'd be a blessing in disguise that we did go 2-0 down against Wickham, because he probably wouldn't have come on. If we were coasting that game, we wouldn't have seen him.
Probably.
I said for a while, I think he'd probably be starting pretty much every week by now, just by virtue of being our only number 9. If he hadn't got that injury, it came at a really sad time.
I think in hindsight from our results, the fact Areola and Morris had they're not here now, and the dip in form that we had, I think he definitely would have been in that team earlier. Like Lowe potentially drops out, maybe gets the rest he needed when he needed a rest, and who knows what could have happened otherwise differently. Maybe the formation would have changed sooner. You don't know. It's just, you got to look back, I guess, and Cooper's had, and maybe you look back and some of the blame's got to go to the financial side of the backing of him, and he's done well with what he's had, really. Limited options, shoehorning players into positions that necessarily isn't where they would want to be, and has done a good job with it, really. So credit.
Yeah, our rotation definitely could have helped. With that dip in form that we had.
And I guess it's like the balance as well then. Do you shove a youngster like Oli Cooper into a situation like the rut that we were on? Because if they get eaten by the Wolves a little bit, it could ruin them.
Oh, it would have been a very big risk to chuck him in when we were...
Yeah, I know we're all calling for it, but we're not the ones that are like playing with someone's career or your own job. So it's easy for us to say it.
And we don't see him on the training ground every day, do we? Like Cooper does. And exactly where he's at.
I just think it's like he's got to coaching youngsters, isn't he? He's probably got to get that balance of protection and risk taking. I can't imagine how hard that is to do. So Cullen was the same last year. To be fair, he was on the bench for long periods of time without coming on. Only really he came on in that game against Reading at the end of the season. It was kind of a bit of a surprise because he wasn't really featuring last season.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's have a look at maybe what we think then. What we're saying for predictions. If we start with the guests, Wally, what was your prediction for this one?
I think we should do it. It's a game against a team who've been struggling. I mean, at points they've been struggling with relegation. They don't look as if they're going to go down anymore. But I think we should get the 3 points over them. I'll go 2-0. Don't know where I'm getting that from, but I'll go with it.
2-0 win, yeah?
Yeah, gosh, yeah, 2-0.
And who do you think will score?
I say Jamal Lowe twice. I back him to carry on this run.
That.
Yeah, I think
When
Lowe when he's on a run, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Can't bet against him.
Okay. Alid, what are you saying? I'm not letting you agree with Lee.
I'm bottom of that table,
Yeah, so you've got to go out and make a statement here.
I'm just considering the fact that they have been scoring goals. No, I was thinking 2-1, but I'm gonna go with 2-0 as well. But I'm gonna go with. I almost said Ayew then, but that's obviously not happening.
Well, the team hasn't been announced yet. You can say Ayew if you want.
Nah, that's not gonna happen. I'm gonna support the whole thing with Lowe, and I'm gonna go with Cullen.
Okay.
A biscuit for a biscuit.
Lee?
Well, I think I'm going with the fact that we're going to win all 4 games, but I think it's going to be a bit of a dodgy one tomorrow. I'll stick with that, and I'll say I'm going to go for it, and we're going to win 3-1. And they will score
3-1. I hope so.
Yeah.
I'd like to see 3 goals. Who do you say scoring?
Roberts on the wing. Lowe and Grimes.
Grimes.
I only ever think of Grimes scoring penalties, but now, I mean, Jamal took the penalty on Saturday, so I'm not quite sure what's happening.
It's weird that they slipped Grimes so far down the pecking order. I mean, fair enough. Like Ayew came back, but he was so good last year on the spot, Grimes. And then fair enough if he handed him over to Ayew with him coming back. But
I don't think he took him last
thought
year.
he would have been
He was under
second, right?
Potter that he took.
Oh yeah, sorry. I'm thinking. I was thinking under Potter, but then when Ayew came back in under Cooper,
It is weird though,
last
because
season.
even under Cooper, Grimes has basically been a set piece person, but then just didn't have pens, or wasn't even second on pens.
More confident with the way Grimes take penalties.
Lowe's was fine. We just hadn't seen what he'd done before.
Lowe's
But I
was
used
fine,
makes
but-
me like, I just can't watch. I hate
do
Ayers,
struggle
and he's
to
always
watch.
close to the keeper every time as well, isn't he? Like, he goes down
Yeah.
the middle too much for me as well.
I don't know how he gets away with it, because he definitely stops in his run up.
Oh yeah, he does.
He didn't
I
get away
really
with it
don't
against
know how
Brentford,
it's-
did he, last year in the playoffs?
It all just comes down to who blinks first, really, between him and the keeper, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know a lot of like some players do that like stutter step thing, but you're right. He does actually stop sometimes, which you can't do, can you? He does. I don't know how he gets away with it.
You think the keepers would have sussed it out by now, but
Yeah, it's well.
Yeah,
Touch
but it's
wood.
the thing, innit? I think you, as a keeper, you're taking a massive risk staying in the middle.
you have to stop it.
And the players that go down the middle take a massive risk doing it, but they know you make the keeper
Most
look a bit
people do
silly
it,
when you do. But yeah,
Who did it recently? Oh, Woodman did against Birmingham. He stood his ground. And
yeah.
he stood
I
in the
don't know.
middle.
Like, did he do his own
Interesting.
work a bit and then just? Woodman's had a good penalty record though, so maybe he does wait until the guy kicks in, backs himself to get there.
Because we got Marge who does all the set piece work, doesn't he? So I imagine he does a lot of. I mean, I don't know,
Yeah.
but he probably does a lot of work, and he's clearly doing something right. But
Yeah,
Here's well, I was just thinking. I was thinking about it earlier. While we're on Ayew, say for example, touch wood. I hope it doesn't happen. Say for example, he's out for the rest of the season. Is that us done? Playoffs and everything. Are we done without him?
I mean,
or maybe we don't need to offer him a new contract. That's the alternative.
we've got to prepare for reality without him. I think next season, and this is probably a good opportunity to see who's going to step up and take his place.
Well, it depends. If we go up, I think they'll get him on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I think he'll probably be given a year, but I mean,
It'll be a year to minimise the risk. Then, if we go straight back down, which very likely we might, you just don't, you use him in the Prem, and then he's nothing. He can just go in there. You don't have to worry about his wages coming back down.
We'll win the league if the top 6 are gone.
Oh yeah, can you imagine that league if there is literally them clubs, not that.
It could be-
Then so what? Sheffield wouldn't go down, West Brom wouldn't go down, and neither would Fulham, whoever it's going to be. All that's 3, isn't it? So I guess what? You just don't relegate the teams and have 3 come up. Probably.
yeah. No, because there'd be 6 gone, wouldn't there? Because if 3 who got relegated,
The top.
you need to replace them with 9 teams. So they,
Well, no, because I would think they just wouldn't relegate those 3 teams, and they would just bring the 3 up as normal.
but that would only give,
Just no fun.
give
Well,
17.
You bring more up from League One. I don't know how it works. I don't know.
Oh, because Ollie was saying, if like the 6 are leaving, aren't they? So if they don't relegate the 3, then you've got 14 left, and then you bring up 6 from the championship. Bring the top 6 up from the championship.
Oh yeah, I'm being silly. No, that's
I,
right.
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
I thought the same thing.
Yes.
you have to repeat that process throughout the football league.
I know that's
though,
going to cause
and-
carnage.
Someone did it. So I saw someone did it on Twitter where they did Premier League, Championship, League 1, League 2, where they just knocked it all up, and it was the leagues look class. I think it'd be a shame not to play the top teams, but it'd be so competitive.
Yeah, but you'd actually enjoy the Premier League a little bit more because you wouldn't be getting trounced every week. You'd have maybe you wouldn't have to go into the league in such a we got to try and stay up, because it's like, okay, actually I think, to be fair, we should be able to compete with the 3 that got relegated, and even arguably I would say like Newcastle. Who else is down there? Brighton. I think we should, like, I'd argue Brighton, like, I know that actually they're right now under Potter, but before Potter went there, when we could have played them in the League Cup if we'd beaten Man City, for example, because they've got a lot of the same players. I think we would have won that League Cup final or semi-final, whatever it was, the next round. If it was Brighton, wasn't it? We would have got, Or would it
I
be
think
like
it would.
Watford and then Brighton?
I mean,
I think is it the FA Cup when we lost 3-2?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah, that was before Potter. I think I'd back. Yeah, I said we'd go all the way if we'd beat them.
I think we would have got to the final if it was Brighton in the final. I can't remember. It was Watford in the final, wasn't it?
Watford in the final, yeah.
I think we would have got to the final. Whether we beat Watford or not then is another thing. But I hands down say we would have beaten Brighton under Potter the way we were playing then. Because after that Man City game, we were rinsing teams like 3-0 every week down in Liberty.
That was when we looked like we were going to playoffs for a bit. And
Yeah.
fair away.
We had a bit of a mid-season resurgence after a dull Christmas, I think. But yeah, that's looking back. We'll finish there. So my prediction will be 2-1 Swans, low Horahan.
Horahan off the bench.
Well, I don't know. I think you'll probably start him because you have for the last 4 games.
Yeah,
I'm not saying he's not on my
January.
team to start, but I think Cooper will start him.
Yeah.
You can almost get him.
So,
you can pick the team. We know that. I think we basically know what the team's going to be, but
he's due
just
a goal.
I'll probably ask you this as long as we're still in the hunt. Are we gonna get second? I think, look, if tomorrow if they beat QPR and Watford go down to Norwich, I think the momentum swings massively then.
So I ask and Oli, yeah.
Well, all of you. What if you think we're gonna sneak it in? It's just it just seems like we're never out of it. We've had so many bad results lately, and then like it was in our. Well, it would have been great if we beat Wickham, but then we got the point right at the end, which just about keeps us in there, and we just somehow is still in the question.
I think that Norwich losing to Bournemouth could be a blessing because I think they'll come back and want to beat Watford now. Whereas if it was the other way around, they just got promoted and then beat Bournemouth, they would have maybe gone off the pace a bit. But they definitely want to get that 100 points, and they're going to be like, we just lost a game. We gotta like keep it going. They'll turn up and hopefully win, which means if we win, then it's interesting.
How we put 2 goals past them that Norwich team, I don't know.
We were class that game.
We were brilliant.
We were class.
I can't believe looking back how we beat them. How good they've become since then.
I can tell you how they didn't score. They didn't have Buendia on the pitch.
No, that certainly helped.
Yeah, that was massive, wasn't it? That he got sent off, didn't he?
They would not be top, I don't think, if he wasn't all there.
No, he's a brilliant player. Bit temperamental, mind. I don't know if that's the only time he's been sent off. But
I'm not saying they wouldn't go up, and I'm not saying they might still win the league, but I just think like his impact, even on the rest of the players and how well everyone else plays around him, he brings out the best in everyone, and he's just like the focal point of that team. So if you take him out, maybe Pookie has a bad season because of it. Maybe Cantwell doesn't play as well because of it. Do you get me? Not like I know they've got other good players, but I just think, maybe Max Aaron's he gets bombing up on the right. Maybe he doesn't get as much space or get played into the space in the same way because Buendia's not there. And it clearly happens because when he isn't playing, they crap.
I didn't realise quite how well Pookie was doing this season. I thought he was having a bit of a down year, but I think he scored like 25.
He's had a good year.
It's just because Tony's done so well that we've kind of forgotten.
Yeah,
Tony's been insane. You thought Ollie Watkins was going to be a big miss, and then they go and find another one.
We were linked with Clark Harris, weren't we? Who, I don't know how reputable the source was, who replaced Tony at Peterborough. Hopefully, if we get him, we'll have a bit of an Ivan Tony situation of our own.
Well, let's hope. We should have got that guy from Scotland. What's his name? Shankland.
Oh, yeah.
The Waters that went to Cardiff haven't done anything, have he?
Yes, I seem to remember he played a game for the 23s. And
he got injured. He just, I don't know if Mick fancies him. Obviously, Harris signed him, so it's.
They seem to have a lot of strikers. I just feel like they have tons of.
Well, if they got rid of Glatzel, he's gone.
Yeah, but even still,
he was a card also, wasn't he?
Yeah, but they paid a lot of money for him, considering they just got relegated. Anyway, it's been a good chat, lads. So, Ollie, if you want to remind everyone where they can find you.
So, Twitter, SCFC Ollie on Twitter. And I've got my football blog, Vibe Footy is the handle on Twitter, if you want to drop that follow.
do me a favour then, Ollie, after we finished here, just DM me the link to that and I'll put it in the description of this video along with obviously your Twitter as well. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Hopefully, you find some success in your ambitions for going into some football journalism, and hopefully we've given you a bit of a platform to try and express yourself and get a taste for doing something.
I've really enjoyed it, so thank you so much.
Don't forget us when you make it.
I won't. Sorry.
Yeah. Go check out Ollie's platforms, his Twitter, his blog, and cheers Aled Lee for coming on as always. Just as a little bit of a heads up of what we're doing going forward. Obviously, we'll watch the match tomorrow and have something about that afterwards, as normal. We've got a couple of other people lined up, some other recommendations from Jordan. So big up Jordan, that are going to come and feature and have a talk with us on one of the videos upcoming. We're also looking at doing our next podcast, because it has been a while since our last one. Can't remember even what it was at this point. But the big news this week, which we have hit on in this video, being this Super League. So we're going to maybe wait for a bit more information, gather all the information, try and make sure we know what we're talking about, and we're going to get a podcast out on that sometime, hopefully this week, maybe early next week. We'll see what happens with timescale on that. So look forward to those. Don't forget, if you want to stay involved, so keep in touch with us on Twitter. That's where we're most active. We also have Instagram and Facebook. And we also have a Discord server, so if anyone does want to join that, the link for that is in the description, and you can get on Twitter as well. Otherwise, don't forget to subscribe, engage in the comments as you always do. We're getting good interaction there, so appreciate it. And leave a like on the video so more people can see what we're doing as well. So thank you very much, and see you all next time. Thank you for watching. Don't forget, if you enjoyed the video, to click the like button to help us grow. To keep up to date with all of our new uploads, hit the subscribe button and push the bell to ensure you are notified of all of our new videos. As always, engage in the comments and let us know your opinions on what we discussed today. And if you want to support us directly, check out our new merch where you can find some awesome Swansea related t-shirts.